What's going on, guys? Stefan here, S&E's Garage. Now, as you'll see a couple videos ago, we purchased a very nice 2014 Kawasaki jet ski, STX-15F, and it came with a double trailer. Now, typically here at S&E's Garage, we buy products or things that need some work and aren't exactly turnkey. But for that jet ski, we got such a good deal on it, low hours, and it was turnkey, ready to go. But I could not resist the urge of buying another jet ski to put on that double trailer so that we have two jet skis. And that's where this comes in. So this is a 2013 Kawasaki STX-15F with roughly 550 hours on it and a seized engine. So we paid $1,200 for this jet ski with the trailer. The trailer's probably worth around $500–600, and the hull of the jet ski itself is probably worth about the same. So I think I got a pretty good deal on this, and repaired and running, this is a $5,000 to $7,000 jet ski right now. So I definitely feel that we can make some money on this when we do decide to sell it, or we can just keep it. Let's uncover it and see how it looks. And there she is. Let's take you off the tripod. So you'll see this ski is white with silver accents and a black hull. I like my green one a little bit better, but for the price, like I said, I couldn't say no to this thing. Like I said, it's a 2013, you know, the paint or the clear coat, whatever you want to call it, it's a little discolored. You can see it's had a little bit of a harder life than our other jet ski, but I think we can get this thing back into pretty nice shape and running. Let's pop those seats off, see how they look under there, see how the engine looks. So to pull these seats off, you start at the back, very rearmost seat, and you pull the little handle, and the back seat lifts right off. Okay, and now again, front seat will come right off. Now there is one thing that caught my eye with this jet ski, and what I want to show you is this SBT sticker, Short Block Technologies. This engine has been replaced once before, and I'm going to show you how I know that. That red sealant on the exhaust manifold is not factory. That exhaust manifold has been off before. So I definitely feel that this engine has already been replaced once before. And I did get a ton of spare parts with this. I have a cylinder head, I have an air box, I have an intake and exhaust manifold, and I have some other engine parts. So this thing, like I said, you can even see the sealant here on the intake manifold, has definitely been apart before. So the reason that I think that this thing is seized is because I do not believe this was winterized correctly. Because if we pull the dipstick here and look at the oil, that oil is clean. So the crankcase, for all intents and purposes, should be fine. I think that we're going to find our issue in the cylinder block. These are three-piece engines. So you have your crankcase, you have your cylinder block, and then you have your cylinder head. And the cylinder block can be replaced separate of the crankcase. So what we're going to do is we're going to pull this engine out, we're going to put it on an engine stand, and we're going to bring it into the garage. We're going to get everything on video. And when we get it into the garage, we're going to put it on that engine stand, pull the head, and we're going to inspect the top of the pistons. What I did as like a last-ditch effort, all four of these pistons right now are soaking in PB Blaster, just so I can see if possibly we can free this up. But I have a feeling even if I do free it up, this is going to be an oil burner if we don't do this correctly. So what I'm thinking we're going to have to do is either send this cylinder head out to the machine shop have it punched out a little bit bigger, then do some oversized pistons with new rings. And I'm thinking we're going to be all right. So hopefully you guys follow us on our journey with this. I think this is going to be a very cool winter project, and I'm hoping that by springtime we get this thing running right. Now, one other thing that I did do off camera is we dropped this ride plate. Now, the ride plate is what helps hold this jet pump in, and we removed the jet pump, which are these 4 bolts here, 1, 2, 3, and 4, the rearmost ones. And we took the jet pump out, and we tried to spin the engine manually by turning basically the output shaft on the back of the machine, and it would not budge. So like I said, I know for a fact this engine is seized, and we're going to see what we can do with it. Let me go get my jump box. We're going to hook it up. There is no battery in here, and I want to show you the gauge cluster and everything. And also in here, we have our fuel tank here. And this thing looks like it's in pretty decent shape. It's got new motor mounts in it. So I think we can get this thing running relatively easily. I don't plan on buying a new cylinder head, cylinder block, if that's what it needs, because they're like $1,200, and I'm not going to spend that much money on it. So what I'm going to hope we can do is save the one that's in here. If not, we're going to scour eBay, we're going to scour Facebook Marketplace, and we're going to find a cylinder block that can be rehoned and reused. So let's go get the jump box. Let's connect it. I'm going to show you what we got. So here you have the gauge cluster on. You'll see it's got low fuel, so the fuel light is blinking and yelling at us. But here you'll see it has 531 hours on it. We have our jump box hooked up. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take our safety key here. That's this little hook, and this goes here, right on the back of this stop button, and that's what allows you to start it. And you'll see it does not budge. So we're going to give this, like, hang on, that's going to annoy the hell out of us. Just turn this key off here. Right. So we're going to give this another like 12 hours of soaking, and then what we're going to do is we're going to come in here, pull all these spark plugs and ignition wires out, and we're going to put a extension down into the cylinders on each one of these, and we're going to tap it with a dead blow hammer. We're going to try to jar this thing loose, and if we can get it loose, that's going to make disassembly a lot easier, because if the pistons are all seized in the block, then I'm going to have to pull them out with the rods, and I was trying not to do that. I was hoping we could free this up, you know, before we pull it. But to pull this engine, you have to pull your exhaust manifold and your intake manifold out of the machine before the engine will come out, and then you have to disconnect your drive shaft back here. This air box has to come out, and it's a little bit of a tight squeeze, but I think if we put a strap here and here on these hooks, and then use the Kubota, the bucket, and we could probably lift this thing right out, and getting these manifolds out of the way will give us better access to these motor mounts. So hopefully you guys follow us on this journey. I think this is going to be, like I said, a really cool winter project. The jet ski is probably going to stay outside for the winter, because the jet ski that runs is going to be the one that, you know, stays in the garage for right now. I actually bought a stand for that I'm going to show you guys. But that one's going to stay inside. This is going to stay outside, but the engine's coming in the garage. So we'll be able to work on it in the garage this winter without having to worry about weather interfering. And I think it'll be cool to tear one of them down and see exactly, you know, how it works, how the timing system works, and hopefully we can learn something. So here's the stand that we purchased for our other jet ski, and this is going to allow me to take it off the trailer, bring it in the garage. But I do have everything we need here to go ahead and winterize it. So I just actually used the jet ski yesterday, but I think later on this month, you know, end of September, it's going to be too cool to go out on it. So we're going to go ahead and winterize it. We're going to show you exactly how you're supposed to winterize this machine, because if the one we just purchased was winterized correctly, this wouldn't have happened to it, because this machine ran when it was put away. So with these jet skis, the exhaust is actually water cooled. Seawater, bay water, lake water, wherever you use the machine is actually brought in through the jet pump and will circulate through this whole engine to cool it. There is no coolant. This machine uses raw water to cool it. And like I said, on the back of the cylinder head here, where it bolts to the exhaust, are water ports or water jackets, and that water is shot out into the exhaust into what's known as the water box here, and the water box collects water. So what I think happened is when they put this away for the year, they didn't fog the cylinders and they didn't blow all of the water out of the system, or they didn't replace that water with RV antifreeze like you're supposed to do. And what happens is, between the water sitting in the exhaust and the cylinders not being fogged, all that condensation from the water that was in the water box heating and cooling allowed that water to condense into the cylinders, and that's what rusted the piston rings to the cylinder walls. And that's why we have them soaking in PV Blaster, and we're going to try to jar them loose, because if we can, that's going to make our job a lot easier. But if not, you know, we have all the tools that we need to go ahead, pull this thing out, and get it running for next season. So if you want to follow us on this journey with this jet ski, please like, share, and subscribe. We'll see you on the next one.